Hello there guys, it's Captain Invisible here and welcome to another turn of the Swissmod custom campaign for Medieval 2 Total War. This is turn number 11 of the Northmen campaign, so let us jump straight into this and see what we can do on this turn. So before I get into anything else, I just need to show you the diplomacy because we are currently at war with the Russians. So the Russians have attacked and sunk our fleet just off here. So we want to return the favour by attacking them over here and trying to sink their ships. Excellent, so we've managed to drive off the Russian fleet. And we can now sort of start to bring these ships back, although I have a feeling that the Russians are going to want to try and counter-attack and try and take us down. So with that done, thankfully, we can move on to talking about the turn. So in terms of the end of turn report, we are making, or we've made 6,159 florins. Not too surprising because we are top financially in the rankings. We just don't have the troops to have to spend tons of money on. So we are in a fairly stable position there. The Dutch Empire are still top in terms of militarily. We are 6th, so we are not bottom anymore, which is obviously good to see. And then we are still bottom down here in terms of the overall the population, the production, with the Lionhearts being top of the food chain, which you would expect with a name like the Lionhearts. So we have to watch out for the Lionhearts. They are expanding very quickly. But as I say, I'm not too worried about them. My main concern now is Russia and his involvement in my waters. We're going to seriously look at disabling their empire piecemeal. So first things first, we're going to start to merge some troops and then do some more retraining. Need to get them into the settlement first. So all of these guys we're going to try and retrain in Kaiser here. Just so we've got the armour upgrades. We do have Sergeant Spearmen with the armour upgrades, and we've got some town militia over here with the upgrades, but we're just going to get some more troops with the upgrades before we start to really push against Russia. Because we are now going to have to push really hard against Russia. He knows what's up, so we are going to look to engage. We are going to position our navy right here, just to play counter-attack, just in case Russia wants to try and destroy this fleet. I mean, it is a fairly strong, stable fleet. I don't think he's got the naval power to really succeed against it, but if he does manage to somehow catch this fleet, then we've got a reserve fleet to be able to sort of bring troops across, because we are in a naval situation similar to how I was in the Grand Hot Seat campaign with Sicily. I need my navy to really be sort of active and focused. Speaking of which, we are going to merge some of these town militia as well, just so we've got three decent town militia and then one that needs retraining, one unit of 7, and then we're also going to get another ship. Don't think we can get anything else, so that will do in terms of recruitment. We need to get as much sort of as many fully strength troops as possible, and then we can sort of start to move them over here to get retrained. Although we are now going to have to really push to try and take out Russia. I'm thinking of either attacking here or here. I know he's got a ship round about here, and I don't think he's got a lot in here, but he might not have a lot in here either. I'm thinking this ship might actually be able to go here, and then it won't be too far for them to just come here, pick up troops, and then go right here. So what we actually want to do is try and get our spies over to Kaiser as quickly as possible. Now, I didn't really anticipate this very much, I'm thinking the best way to do it is probably going to be... I wonder if my spy could reach if I put my fleet here. I could put it back here just to help protect it a bit more. But I don't think it'll reach. I don't think it'll settle. It's a tough one because I really need my spies over here. I guess they could sit there next turn. It's just that next turn I want to be able to move this army straight out and possibly attack here. I'll think about it next turn. I don't want to lose my spies for one, and I don't want to unnecessarily lose my fleet either.
Yeah, fleet ready.
So we'll just leave it there, and we'll work on moving them across a bit later on. But for now, we've got everything sorted. We're currently building our castle over here, which will give us access to some nice troops. We just need to continue with that and not be too concerned. We do probably want to move out a secondary army as well. As soon as these guys are retrained, we could actually move the Emperor himself and maybe definitely these three. I'm thinking probably the spearmen need to stay here, because if I do end up building a town guard, I can get some spearmen from there. Yeah, I think I'll take... Well, these guys will be retrained, so I could take all of the town militia, and then just leave the spearman, the peasants, and a couple of archers in here. Move them all to Kaiser, and use Kaiser as... and then be able to retrain those troops at Kaiser, whilst I take a force out to try and take some Russian settlements. That's what we can do next turn. Take some of these troops, the spies, and try and retrain them in Kaiser, whilst we move this force out to engage the Russians on their land instead of ours. We do have a mission to take this settlement, Louis the 14th. Louis the 14th is not an easy settlement to take. It's considerably better than what we can afford to do. Even though it's got a nice reward to it, we are not short on money, so we should be fine for that. In terms of the rankings of all the living factions, we are still, based down in the rankings, but looks like the Lionhearts are top now, with the Swissmanian Empire and Russia all sort of vying for first. Then you've got a group in here of the Peace and Love, the Desert Hobos, and the Dutch Empire all vying over here, and we're just gonna sort of hang back and see what happens. we're kind of playing it a bit sneakily here, just rising in power slowly and without drawing attention to ourselves. I think that's key to our survival here. Militarily, yeah, the Dutch Empire are way above. Yeah, I thought it was the Peace and Love Empire are the ones that are struggling militarily, so we are above them for once. They must really be having trouble with the Russians on their front, and the Lionhearts. The Lionhearts have obviously been quite busy on the mainland. Production, we are very stable. That's good. We could do with being higher, but as I say, we only have 2 settlements, so production's not going to be too great for us. It looks like the Lionhearts and the Swissmanian Empire both vying for the top in terms of production, and the rest of us kind of spread out down here. Territorial, yeah, we're all the way down here, but that's not too... It's not too concerning at the moment, because the people that are top, sort of Russia and the Lionhearts and things, they're all fairly spread out, so they're very open, whereas we're kind of compact anyway, so we're not going to get... If we get assaulted, we can reinforce quite easily, whereas I think some of these spread out factions will have issues in this campaign. And financial, we are still top, even though we are decreasing, but the rest of them are sort of compact down here. So financially speaking, we are in the strongest position. Population, we do have a bit of population. It looks like the Turks have been losing population to England, as you can see, or the Lionheart, should I say. As you can see, they've sort of traded places with the population. So there's a nice grouping down here, and then some up here, but we are fairly low in that regard. So just a bit of diplomacy talk, because it wouldn't be me without talking about diplomacy. So yeah, we are at war with Russia, which means that we need to get on the good side of the peace and love empire, because they are currently at war with Russia as well. The Dutch Empire and the Desert Hobos are still going at it. The Swissmanian Empire has decided to ally with the Desert Hobos and is still enemies of the peace and love. Russia is enemies of ourselves and the peace and love. So again, we need to common enemy, enemy of my enemy kind of deal. And then the poor peace and love are at war with England, the Swissmanian Empire and the Russian Empire. So they're in a bit of a difficult situation. Again, it's going to be worth us keeping on their good side in the future. Unless they die, of course. That's that's going to be a bit difficult. We're going to be making money next turn, 7,566. That's because we're not constructing anything this turn, because we're currently constructing things, and we've got some. I thought we had some decent trade coming in. Do we not have trade with peace and love? Unless they've lost a lot of their trading potential. That'd be quite bad. But, I mean, in terms of everything else, we're doing okay, We just need to take some more regions, I think, just to expand our influence. But that's pretty much all I can do this turn. Yeah, we're going to leave it at that. Again, there's not a lot I can... It's one of those turns that's in between, and as soon as I get my castle, I'll be able to sort of recruit some better troops. I'll be able to build some better buildings, and we'll start to get some armoured sergeants out as soon as possible. I'm just waiting for this ship right as well, which will give us stronger ships that we can really hit Russia with. But for now, we're just sort of building up, setting up, ready to get our troops from Kaiser over to the Russian lands now, and just see if we can take them out. But for now, we're going to end the turn, and we're going to not try the Dutch Empire's password. We're going to save as the turn 11, the Dutch Empire. There we are. So that was turn number 11. Check out the other players' turns, and I shall see you all in turn number 12.